Welcome to another Explainer. If you're a focused learner who absolutely loves breaking down complex systems just to see how they truly tick, well, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're exploring a pretty fascinating reality, the illusion of perfect security. We're going to uncover the true stories and practical techniques behind how physical and digital fortresses are actually breached. From the split-second decisions of Cold War shadow warriors moving silently through Moscow to the meticulous electronic takedowns of modern biometric scanners, we are diving deep into the incredible stealth, deception, and psychological tactics that determine survival in the high-stakes game of espionage.
To really understand modern tradecraft, we first have to understand the mindset of the operatives who design it, and of course, those who break it. This quote from Machiavelli, dating all the way back to 1515, was famously adopted by 20th century intelligence agencies as a foundational philosophy for surveillance countermeasures. Basically, it reminds us that ignorance of a threat makes you easy prey. In the gritty, predatory underworld of targeted attacks and counterintelligence, survival means never assuming you are entirely safe. The hunter will always conquer the hunted, unless the hunted becomes the hunter.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's Explainer. First, the illusion of security. Second, defeating biometric scanners. Then, the vulnerability exploits. Fourth, surveillance countermeasures. Fifth, the art of disguise. And finally, number 6, trapping the watcher. So, part 1, the illusion of security. Let's start with our very first target, the high-security biometric access systems that governments and massive corporations blindly trust to protect their most sensitive critical infrastructure. For years now, the security industry has operated on this tiered philosophy, right? You have something you have, like a physical key card, something you know, like a password, and then there's the ultimate gold standard, something you are, biometrics. Because your fingerprint is uniquely yours, governments have literally spent hundreds of millions of dollars deploying these systems, just assuming they're entirely foolproof. But a really fascinating applied testing study by Edith Cowan University set out to test not just if these machines worked for normal, everyday users, but if they could actually withstand a determined, sophisticated attack from a hostile operative. Which brings us to part 2, defeating biometric scanners. You see, the researchers didn't just casually test these machines. They executed a methodical, technical takedown of 3 commercially available high-security fingerprint readers. To pull this off, they followed a strict 4-step methodology. Step 1, evaluation mapping. Step 2, commercial evaluation. Step 3, basic performance testing. But the real cinematic tension, that happens in Step 4, defeat testing. This is where the researchers effectively went rogue. They put on their hacker hats and attempted physical and technical adversary attacks to see if these digital fortresses would hold up under real-world stress. Spoiler alert, they completely failed. Moving into part 3. The vulnerability exploits. Let's look exactly at how they executed this and broke the digital locks, utilizing techniques that honestly seem straight out of a spy thriller.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the massive distinction between how systems fail by pure accident versus how they are actively defeated. Zero-effort attack? That's just bad luck. The machine accidentally thinks your fingerprint looks like someone else's. But an adversarial attack involves active, deliberate deception. This is where a hostile actor intentionally imitates a valid user using physical or digital artifacts specifically to trick the system.
Just look at this. This environment is practically a hacker's playground. Between you placing your finger on a pad and the door actually unlocking, there are 8 distinct points of failure in a standard biometric system. If a hostile operative can inject fake data, manipulate the database, or override the authentication matching at literally any of these 8 points, the entire multi-million-dollar system is completely compromised. In their technical integrity tests, the researchers didn't just try fake fingers right out of the gate. No, they attacked the power source using a DC power supply unit. By increasing and decreasing the device's supply voltage by tiny 2-volt increments, they attempted to induce a failure state, glitching the system into bypassing its own authentication protocols. It's a brilliant, silent electronic attack. Actually, it's highly reminiscent of how historical saboteurs in World War II used to subtly clip wires to cause communication failures without ever triggering the perimeter alarms. And if glitching the power didn't do the trick, they went straight for the hardware. Using standard laboratory tools, we're talking multimeters, screwdrivers, drills, the researchers actually bypassed the internal circuitry and the anti-tamper mechanisms of all 3 high-security readers. They were able to gain direct access to the output relay door locks. It's incredibly ironic and maybe a little absurd, that millions of dollars of sophisticated software and cryptography can be completely bypassed with a standard hardware store screwdriver hot-wiring the door from the inside.
But what if you absolutely have to trick the scanner itself? This is the most shocking finding. These incredibly expensive machines, which are supposed to include live finger monitors to prevent spoofing, were successfully defeated by incredibly simple verification attacks. We are talking about two-dimensional photocopies of fingerprints and three-dimensional artificial overlays just placed on top of an attacker's live finger. The machines happily accepted a literal piece of paper as a valid living human being. The illusion of perfect digital security completely shattered.
So we know machines can be fooled by artificial overlays and tiny voltage drops. But what happens when you step out of the secure facility and onto the street? What happens when the threat isn't a hacked machine, but a highly trained human operator following your every move, adapting to you in real time? That brings us to part 4, surveillance countermeasures. Now we're getting into the human element and the tense, extremely physical world of spycraft. When adversaries want to avoid technical detection, they rely on the time-tested methods of physical, human surveillance. So the crucial point is understanding the difference in your response to being watched. Anti-surveillance is all about evasion, taking actions to slip away from a watcher, even if you aren't perfectly sure they're actually there. But surveillance detection is proactive. It's the art of executing specific tactical actions designed to force a hidden watcher to react, thereby confirming their presence. You are actively hunting the hunter.
Jumping into part 5, the art of disguise. If you're going to hunt a watcher, you have to know exactly what you're looking for, and that means understanding how professional surveillance teams project different appearances.
Back during the Cold War, KGB agents in Moscow were famous for using quick-change disguises to suddenly vanish into a crowd. But CIA operatives learned to exploit partial disguises. A watcher might change their coat or put on a different hat, sure, but they rarely change their shoes or their watch. And more importantly, human beings have subconscious physical mannerisms that are almost impossible to suppress. A unique physical stride, nervous pacing driven by operational adrenaline, or a slight physical limp will betray an operative no matter what jacket they happen to be wearing.
You also have to scan the crowd for the physical tells of the technology they carry. Sophisticated teams wear concealed body communications equipment or wires. If you know what to look for, their movements totally give them away. Watch for an operator unconsciously dipping their chin to talk into a microphone taped to their chest. Notice the person who suddenly stops moving and just stares blankly into space as they concentrate on a hidden earpiece transmission. Or spot the individual keeping their hands deep in their pockets, silently clicking a transmit button to send static as a yes or no response. Once you start looking for them, these tells are literally everywhere.
And finally, part 6, trapping the watcher. Once you know how to spot the tells, it's time for the ultimate countermeasure, taking total control of the environment. Surveillance operators rely heavily on cover, the ability to blend in seamlessly with pedestrians or traffic. But a smart target weaponizes the environment by demanding cover for action. This isn't just theory, guys. It's an offensive tactical weapon. It means deliberately maneuvering the watcher into a specific location where simply standing there looks unnatural, forcing them to participate in an activity they're entirely unprepared for. Imagine you're walking down a city street, and the hair on the back of your neck just stands up. You suspect you're being followed. Without warning, you duck into a dimly lit local pool hall. Your watcher is suddenly forced to make a split-second decision: stay outside and completely lose you, or follow you into the trap. If they follow you in, they can't just stand there awkwardly against the wall. They have to grab a cue and actually play pool to maintain their cover. If that operator is a total novice who has never played a game in their life, they will instantly expose themselves to your observation. Boom, you've trapped them. The exact same logic applies to movement, a technique real intelligence operatives use to clear their tails before heading to dead drops. If you're on a busy subway platform, you can employ a sudden reverse. Just move unexpectedly against the natural flow of foot traffic. Or if you're driving, engage a turn signal at the absolute last microsecond before a turn. A well-trained team might let you go to avoid detection, but an overly aggressive watcher, they're going to scramble to mirror your unnatural movement, instantly highlighting themselves against the normal flow of the crowd.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core lesson from our sources today, perfectly summed up by Machiavelli's warning. Whether it's a sophisticated 3D overlay tricking a biometric scanner, or a sudden change of direction on a subway platform to expose a Cold War spy, perfect security is an illusion. Awareness and proactive observation are the only true ways to defeat both technical and physical threats.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to take with you out into the world. Think about how you walk. Think about how you stand when you're nervous, or what you do with your hands when you're distracted on the phone. What are your subconscious mannerisms? And if the illusion of security is just that, an illusion, who might already be watching them? Keep learning,